Hey gang, Ronan here. As you can see in this game, I'm playing the Tier 10 US Destroyer Gearing. Now, this is a this is a game that I'm particularly proud of because I played this game just ahead of it coming out about the current Torpedo, well, let's just call it bug,
Action stations.
that was introduced with the most recent update. You can see my comment there about the queue just being, well, packed full with destroyers. And it seemed that way for a period of days. So in this game, 4 destroyers per team. I had played one, I think, the same day that there were 5 destroyers. I mean, it's just, I know things are cyclical, but even 4 is, well, it changes the game quite a bit. Fortunately, in terms of matchmaking, no CV, which is nice. That would have been, well, let's just say interesting. Now, having spawned in the center, I'm going to make a push for the Bravo cap. You can see we've got 2 Marceau at Alpha, Holland south of Charlie. Now, I know I've mentioned it before, but when I first picked up the gearing, I had a really tough time figuring this ship out. You know, in most lines, not in every line, of course, but in most, there's a progression. Oh, this is another bug that was introduced with the most recent patch, or update. These things will not stay checked for replays. In the game, no problem. That's a lot of additional information that I have to go in and manually set each time. Sure would be great if Wargaming could just test things before they roll out a big update. Anyway, the handling in particular of Fletcher as compared to Gearing is very different. So you get Fletcher that it's very nimble, and then you move into the Gearing and it's not. And it takes a little getting used to. And there are some other differences. Guns are a little different. You got more guns on Gearing. Gearing torpedoes can, 16.5 kilometer range, which you can see on the mini map there. That's the outermost blue circle. Versus, a much shorter range on the torpedoes on the Fletcher. Anyhow, I really struggled with it when I first picked it up. And I threw those torpedoes out there, hoping to catch somebody crossing there.
Torpedoes to port.
And I did. Now, the most recent bug about torpedoes, well, I think you can see an example of it there. I was turning hard to starboard. I threw the torpedoes into the gap. But look at where they're going. Now I'm turning starboard again. You saw where I was aimed. It's just an unfortunate thing that a bug like this could get introduced and nobody at Wargaming notice it. Now, if you don't play destroyers much, or don't play ships that are torpedo reliant, you can imagine if my torpedoes had gone where I wanted them there, I might have landed all of them. You can imagine what it would be like if, say, for example, you were playing a Yamato or a Montana, and if you were turning your ship, the shells would land Well, in whatever direction that you happen to be turning, rather than where you were aiming. That's particularly troublesome when you're... Oof, Conqueror just blapped that Yoshino. That's particularly troubling when your weapon system moves so slowly. I mean, what's the average hit rate for torpedoes? About 8%? Something like that. So anything that throws off your aim, the way that this most recent bug does, well, that's just very unpleasant. That's a very unpleasant thing. I'll try and be as nice about it as possible. So I haven't really played destroyers a whole heck of a lot. In fact, I haven't played much of anything. I've been hoping that this would get a hotfix of some kind, you know, that they would identify the problem, because it was just rolled out. I mean, it just happened. So my hope was that they'd get right on it, but as Flamu said, it's not a CV problem, so they're probably going to make us wait a while, maybe even till the next update. We'll see.
Our team has taken the lead.
And with those torpedoes, I'm just trying to flood the lane. Maybe I catch somebody, maybe I don't. Now, as so often happens, especially the last few months, it seems to me, you got one team that pushes and one team that doesn't. So, although the Reds, well, they have a ship advantage. We have all three caps, and we have a significant points lead. We're not quite 7 minutes in. Now, that's not to say that the Reds can't win this game, because they can. But it's going to be an uphill climb for them. You know, they've got a Des Moines that's really banged up, and they're kind of forced into having to push. If our team doesn't push, they kind of have to push. Now, in this case, I see a gap here, and I'm going to try and exploit it. Des Moines right behind me gives them reason to believe that Des Moines is the only thing here. Now, it's one of the things when you're playing a destroyer, you'll remember, if you've been playing the game for a long time, you'll remember when, if you wanted to know when someone had you spotted, you had to allocate a point, one of your commander skill points, in order to get that information. And for destroyer players, that was beautiful. I mean, it's tough enough to play a destroyer, but when the red ships know when they're detected, if they're not detected and then they become detected, they know at that point, okay,
Enemy cruiser destroyed.
now I have to change speed and course to avoid getting hit by torpedoes. I mean, it's just, anyone with any sense knows that. So I managed to take out their Des Moines. Enemy Shima takes out our Des Moines. Well, in that case, the positioning there, since Des Moines was there, if they became detected, they would just, because they couldn't see my ship, maybe just think, well, we're detected by the Des Moines. And since Des Moines doesn't have torpedoes, maybe they just keep sailing in a straight line.
Smoke screen set.
Whatever the reason, they did. I landed a couple torpedoes. Just kind of flood that whole area. I know the Shima's there. I'm just going to back out of the way because I'm pretty sure I'm going to see torpedoes coming this direction. Now if I see the torpedoes come across here, then I can move forward into my smoke and try and make use of that. I do manage to catch the Yamato. I'm watching the Nevsky over there.
Torpedoes to starboard.
There are the Shima Torps.
Concentrate fire on the enemy warship.
And I've got to try and get myself in a position where the Nevsky can't blab me. So I'll just keep backing up. He looks like he's pretty heavily engaged over there. And at this point, if he turns to port in order to get away from Yamato and Marceau, but he's not. He's pushing south. He's turning starboard, which means he's going to be able to get guns on me anyway. So I need to get the heck out of here. You can see the enemy torpedoes crossing there. And I'm going to try to catch somebody crossing. There's the Holland. Can't believe I didn't land any of those shells. Angle up here against the Nevsky shells. And now that I'm dark, I can repair.
Problem solved, sir.
And hope I land a torpedo on the Nevsky.
We've destroyed an enemy cruiser.
And Holland said no, there's no way he was going to push through directly into the face of the Kurfürst. But he's out in open water. And I've still got a lot of hit points. And at this point, this game's looking pretty secure. No guarantees, of course, because it is World of Warships, but we've still got a 2 cap to 1 advantage. We have a 6 ships to 4 advantage. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Our Kurfürst has decided he's going to push.
Smoke screen set.
And I really can't torp when he's pushing. So I just have to decide what to do. And I decide I'll just get in a little bit closer and try to use my guns. Now you can see on the mini-map there, the red circle around my ship is the gun range. So I've got the Kremlin in range. And if I were to open up right now, as soon as he gets sunk, I would be dark again. Nobody would be able to see me. But Montana's moving south, and I think they're probably going to both head for Bravo, but I'll throw some torpedoes out here in case anybody turns this way. Nope, no guarantees here, but looking pretty good. Pretty good game. Managed to cap, landed 9 torpedoes with 6 floods, 3 ships sunk, 47 shells on target, started a fire, a couple of decaps, spotted some ships, incapacitated some ships, and doing decent damage, and it's going to get a little bit better before it's over. Losing our Yoshino keeps these guys in the game a little bit longer.
Torpedoes dead ahead.
Anyway, as you know, if you watched any of my videos before, you know that I love playing the game. It's a very fun ship.
The ship is on fire.
And since this is going to be over here pretty abruptly, I will say thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, I appreciate it if you'd consider liking and subscribing. Sincerely hope you enjoyed it. Hope you have a good rest of the day.
Problem solved, sir.
And I'll see you next time.
Battle ends in 5 minutes. Enemy